Pretty women, fascinating, sipping coffee, dancing. Pretty women are a wonder. Pretty women sitting in the window or standing on the stair. Something in them cheers the air. Pretty women, silhouetted, stay within you, glancing, stay forever, breathing lightly. Pretty women, blowing out their candles or combing out their hair. Even when they leave you and vanish, they still are there with you. Ah, pretty women at their mirror in their garden, letter writing, flower picking, weather watching, how they make a man sing. Proof of heaven as you're living. Pretty women, here's just pretty women, all the pretty women. And are you beautiful and pale with yellow hair like her? I'd want you beautiful and pale the way I dreamed you were, Joanna. And if you're beautiful, what then, with yellow hair like wheat? I think we shall not meet again, my little dove, my sweet Joanna. Goodbye, Joanna. You're gone and yet you're mine. I'm fine, Joanna. I'm fine. City on fire, city on fire. And if I never hear your voice, my turtle dove, my dear, I still have reason to rejoice. The way ahead is clear, Joanna. And in that darkness when I'm blind with what I can't forget, it's always morning in my mind, my little lamb, my pet, Joanna. Come for me one day. You stay, Joanna, the way I dream you are. Oh, look, Joanna, a star, sweetly and shooting a star. And though I'll think of you, I guess, until the day I die, I think I miss you less and less as every day goes by, Joanna. You'd be beautiful and pale and look too much like her. If only angels could prevail, we'd be the way we were, Joanna.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what Pam has called our spooky Halloween reunion for Sweeney Todd 2024. We're so glad that you are here with us tonight. I'm so thankful to have many members of the cast and Pam as the director and Meredith for the music. And I'm so thankful that you all are being here tonight to stroll down memory lane. We're going to look at some pictures. I'm going to ask you some questions that I've been dying to know the answer to. If you're at home or if you're one of the participants, Laura suggested earlier that we all pour a nice glass of, she said Cabernet, but I'm drinking a lovely.
I'm on to Prosecco now.
Are you? I'm on a perfect glass of Weiss Riesling, which Joe Wallace had a hand in.
You're not getting a free bottle for that.
Yeah.
That
was my plan. So welcome, everyone. Welcome. I have a question to get us started. I want to go around. If you had to pick just one word to describe your experience realizing this production of Sweeney Todd, what would it be?
Don't start with me.
I won't start with you, Laura. I'm going to start with Evan.
Fulfilling.
Aha. Ronnie.
Scary.
Ooh. Mare.
You know you gotta come back to me. I'm not ready.
What?
She's late. She's always late.
He's always late.
Always.
Right.
Mare, let's see. Marilla.
Satisfying.
Joe.
Persevere.
Ooh. John.
Life-changing.
Lily.
Community.
Ooh. Laura.
Just lovely.
Aww.
Lovely. Love
Right.
it says lovely.
Pam.
It was the best.
I'm going to say surprising.
Ooh. Okay. And what about you, Mary? You're on the spot now. Pick one.
Oh crap! I still don't come up with anything. I have like a million
crap.
words.
Ask you at the end of the. We'll ask you at the end of the line.
All right, we'll ask at the end. That's true.
Crap doesn't count there.
So, I have a ton. I have questions for all of you individually that I've thought about in advance. And for our audience, no, I did not share these questions with any of them. So, I'm gonna start, if you don't mind, with you, John.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when I've
John
seen
Toby.
What?
John played Toby.
John played Toby. No, he didn't.
Plot twist.
Although he could have in his youth. So my question is, when I've seen Sweeney and not loved it so much, is
Eric, can you come get? Sorry.
when Sweeney is played in a really one-dimensional way. And I want to know how you approached Sweeney in an attempt to keep him as three-dimensional as you did.
I think it was like, Pam, what should I do? Laura, is this the right way?
You had some crutches, but you did it yourself.
Yeah, no, I just, I don't know. I try not to think about roles too much. I'm not like, I always say I'm the most non-actor actor you'll meet. Like, I don't try to dig too much into it because I don't want to get in my head. So I just kind of like break it all down and be like, you know what? This guy was done wrong. I gotta trust the cast and feed off them. There was no like dig deep and like I just try to just give what the lyrics give to me and the lines give to me, and just trust the whole cast. I'm not trying to think too much about it.
Well, it was an amazing performance that you provided. Very authentic, and I found myself at times feeling bad for the character, which is not something that I've usually experienced when I've seen Sweeney Todd. So I appreciated that. And I also, Laura,
Can I just say, John is underrating himself here.
Yeah.
Agreed.
A heart by a lot, frankly.
Yeah.
John is such a, I know Pam would always say to both of us, you guys are so method. And one of the things that I really appreciated about working opposite John is that he keeps it real. He always says to us, it's in the eyes. And that's the connection that as actors who get to work with him, he's there for you 110%. And it makes you want to step up in that way too.
Mhm.
And that's keeping it real it's the truth of the character. And if that came very naturally, all
Good for
more
you.
power to you.
Here comes the tears already. Here it comes.
It's like, RJ, we talked a little bit about like, this is one of the only characters I know of that is a villain, and also you have to really love him.
Yeah. He's the anti-hero.
Right. I mean, and that's
Really?
More like an anti-villain.
that is so
anti-villain.
complicated. It is so complicated. And John really like came at it and from all angles, which is what made it so clear.
And another thing too is John came at it in a way, because there's been so many performances of this, and I've seen like millions of performances of the show. I'm like the biggest like Sweeney Todd fan, just to give a preference, just to give a little context. And John was one of the first. Like I saw him during the rehearsal process. I'm like, holy! I've never thought of that before. He gave us such a unique performance to any Sweeney, to any national professional performance that I've seen. It was just incredible. I may be biased, but
Well, thanks. But the whole cast was awesome. The whole set was great, and Pam, the red lights things, and when we had to go down that trunk, not me thing.
Oh, we're going to talk about the trunk. I got a video of the trunk. But since we're having a John Love Fest, I'm going to throw a video up. So, because I think that his performance was unreal for us. So here's a little video of John.
I will have vengeance. I will have salvation. Who's up? You up? No one's in the chair. Come on, please. Waiting. I want you bleeders. Who's up? Anybody, gentlemen, now don't be shy. Not one man, no 10 men, no 100 can assuage me. I will have you. And I will get him back even as he gloats. In the meantime, I'll practice on the sonical throat. And my Lucy lies in
That's a lot.
Ah, so good.
That's a lot.
So good.
That's a lot.
Oh,
That was
man,
a
that's
good.
so good.
I can't. That's just. I want to pivot to Laura because my question.
Time.
Yeah, my question is similar, but Mrs. Lovett is one of those characters that so many women want to play. And when I've seen a lot of women play it, it's sort of a replication more than a creation. You know, they're sort of recreating Angela Lansbury a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I want to know what do you feel like was unique about your characterization of Mrs. Lovett?
Well, I approached finding her like I approach all parts, and that is finding the truth for her. I knew I didn't want to make her a clown. And so, but with that, the comedy is so easy to find. So that was the easy part. But the more challenging part was making her a person and a human. And once I found that and I figured out what was making her real, then I tried to work those moments in and just play her as authentic as I could, play her truth. In my mind, she's the star of the show.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
But no, I was just finding her the reason for everything that she does is a lot of self-preservation, but it's also like she's like believes that Sweeney has come into her life at the right moment and it's fate, and she just loves him and she's not letting him go because she's been alone for a long time. And so that's a lot of what was sorry, I'm looking at pictures. That's a lot of what was in my mind as I was finding the nuance of her. But I knew I didn't want to make her a clown, but I also knew I wanted to have fun with her. So
yeah, similar to what I said to John, I felt the unique thing I felt in your performance was a sense of desperation that I don't always get from that character. You know, this feeling of need, like she needs this to work. And I just was loving that. You know, John mentioned the set, and I think it was the set. A successful production is when the set is actually, and the technical elements are a character in and of themselves, and that's coming from a techie's point of view. But I think that I saw that, and for our folks that are watching and that came to the show, you should know that happened in one weekend. Like that set came together over the course of just 2 days. And if you are someone who happens to be a proprietor of or owner of a cool empty space that you would love to have a resident theater company in, we would love to have a spot where we didn't have to move in one weekend, and it would be amazing what we could do if we didn't just have 2 days. Everything from the hanging the suitcases and the lighting and the Pam, you're showing a picture right now that just always makes me chuckle. This is a total inside baseball thing, but there's a lighting instrument that ends up getting in that particular space that ends up being really, really important in every production that we do, and it was just featured in that last photograph. Anyway, let me go out to this is going to be a combo question for Evan, Ronnie, and Lily. And I want to know, have you share some things that were as an ensemble member, how was this experience different from other ensembles that you've been a part of? So I'm going to make Lily start.
Oh, happy. So I think the chemistry in the ensemble was really, really on from day one. I think that was true across the cast. Oh, nice.
That's a great shot.
My finest hour. Yeah, I think the chemistry across the whole cast was really strong from day one. We all had this ferocious spirit of collaboration. Whether, I was a latecomer to the cast, so people had built up like kind of that groove already, but even coming in late, it was so easy to just jump right in and gel and bounce off of each other. So that, and I don't know, I think that this being that I was in one show previously with Theater 444 with a much smaller cast, and then this being much larger with a lot of Sweeney's fast, Sweeney's quick. We've got a lot of quick transitions to make. We need to make things look really seamless. The energy has to be so high all the time. And as an ensemble, we were very lucky to have people in this ensemble who we could rely on to generate that energy and keep the energy up and roaring the whole show, and support our amazing leads. So lucky to have it, for sure.
Ferocious collaboration is an amazing word combination, and you should know that definitely was felt by the audience. That's a great way to describe it. I felt it just in the 2 days I was there helping to get the tech stuff in place, the just incredible bond that y'all had. And but then coming to see it, I was like, oh damn, like, whoa. So
RJ, many people said to me after the show, that opening number, I needed therapy after the opening number. I mean, it was strong. It was strong.
Yeah.
And the cast was really strong as a whole. Let me show you a quick clip of part of the opening because it's so good.
The tale of Sweeney Todd. His skin was pale and his eye was odd. He shaved the faces of gentlemen who never thereafter were heard of again. He trod a path that few have trod. In Sweeney Todd, the demon walked the Fleet Street. He kept a shop in London town, of fancy kinds and good renown. And watched if none of their souls were saved, they went to their gate impeccably shaved. By Sweeney Todd, the demon lover of Fleet Street. Swing your dreams of light, Sweeney, float into the skies. Sweeney flows the blood of those who rise.
Chills. I love that when they all rise up from the audience. Love that. Evan, what would you like to say about like the ensemble component of this show?
It was incredibly essential that we had to nail it. Like the relationship between the ensemble was incredibly symbiotic. I felt like we were all like even like when somebody was not on it, like we were quick to fix it. And it wasn't like with most like productions and shows, it was like you either get like a catty energy, like oh now like there's like an ego involved. But like with us, it was like a very professional, very friendly. Like, oh no, you could probably do this differently. Like oh yeah, you're right. Like right, I should probably do it differently. Oh no, it should actually sound like this. Oh yeah, it should totally sound like this. You're right. And it was just all about getting it done and getting it right, because had we not gotten the ensemble right, the show wouldn't have moved along, because the ensemble essentially we are the narrators. We're essentially helping move the story along, and had we not done that part and hooked the audience in, that whole aspect would have been lost.
100%. Ronnie, what would you like to add to that?
Ronnie, how are you, buddy?
Good to see everyone. Ferocious collaboration is really accurate. It was different for me, but I thought it was pretty cool that everyone was holding each other accountable if we like slipped up. It wasn't like, aha, you messed up. And it was more like, you'll get it next time, or it's better if you do this, or, you know, because we didn't really have a proper stage manager. So we were smart enough to just come together when it really mattered, which was different. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And again, that was also evident that you both had each other's backs, but also were pushing each other.
Right.
And that was also something that was really obvious.
Can I just, Pam, you might be thinking this right now as you're listening to Ronnie, especially just talk. Like, I can remember when we were blocking God, That's Good, and you were giving them the choreography or the movement for that. And I was just sitting back in awe of how well this ensemble worked together. They listened, they adjusted, but mostly to echo what Evan and Lily and Ronnie said it seemed to me that it was a very supportive environment, and everybody was so professional about it and just so hardworking. It was really cool to witness.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever started a rehearsal and then just sat there and let the rehearsal unfold, because this ensemble kind of just took over. And they would be like problem solving and fixing things, and I just sat there a lot.
And we would go for it too. I
know. I was just letting y'all figure it out, because you were, and that's so unusual for a group to do that. But everybody just really wanted to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, going back to Ronnie's word was scary. Wasn't that your word, Ronnie?
Yeah.
It was scary. I mean, it was scary also because we knew we had to get it right, or it was going to be wrong. You know, there was no room for any errors.
I think
Ronnie
it was fun. Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ronnie also mentioned like the fact that we pushed each other. Sometimes, like literally, like I remember there was a point in after Todd killed Pirelli, during the rehearsal process, Ronnie came out to me because like there was a point where I was the bailiff who like came back after they sang like one of the many ballads of Sweeney Todd, and I was to throw a bag over his head and present him to the judge after Ronnie's character was supposed to be sentenced to death. And Ronnie was like, "Hey,
that's not me."
What the heck was that?
What was that?
Football.
This ghost.
There's
Happy
football in the house, you guys.
Exactly. We had to be scary, but Ronnie comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, like when you throw the bag over my head, like really throw me to the ground." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, like really just like really like go at it." And like we were, but like that whole point of like we were just really pushing each other to just like really make it authentic and make it real, essentially.
Yeah, I think something that was telling is I don't think I'll ever forget when a lot of times when actors are warming up, we'll play this game where nobody looks at each other, everybody closes their eyes, and you try to count to 21, each person taking a number. And this was the largest cast I've ever been in that was able to get to 21 in like 2 shots. And I think it was just such a testament to how much we were listening to each other. And it really felt like even when stuff didn't hit, everybody was listening to each other and trying to adjust to each other's needs to make this the best it could be. And I think that was just really unique.
Absolutely. I'm gonna I'm gonna put Pam and Meredith on the spot, but before I do that, I want to get to Joe and Marilla. So I read a review of Sweeney from a long time ago, not ours, from a long time ago, and the reviewer said, this was in the New York Times, and said that, you know, I wish they would the show's already too long. They should just cut this Joanna and business.
Yes.
And it's fluff. It's silly, insipid, romantic relief. and Sondheim wrote a really very uncharacteristic. He used to never respond to his critics, and he sent a letter to the editor and referenced the critique and just said, "You don't understand this play." And so I wanted to ask you two about what do you see as the through line of those characters as they work their way through this story?
You want to go first?
And go.
Go.
I guess for me, Anthony and Joanna are really actually critical to balancing the show. I think there's the idea that, it's just romantic relief, and I think that would be okay if it was just that. But really it's that sense of goodness is okay. It's okay to just be happy. Because everything else in the show is so heavy and so difficult to contend with that it feels really good when you nail the part where it's like, I just get to be happy for these people. It's very wholesome. They survive to the end. Spoiler. For me, that's kind of the through line is at the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka says, so shines a good deed in a weary world. And that was kind of the quote that I kept in my head for this show was like the Anthony Joanna relationship is the thing that shines in a really dark show.
Love that.
Yeah. I think I would agree. And I think that there's a lot, I think that taking that even deeper for me, like there's so much hurt and there's so much hardship in this show, and these two characters choose to hang on to hope and not despair. And maybe it's a little sentimental, but I think that it's to say that there's life and hope. They do live to the end. They do make it through. And my hope is that they live a long and happy life and they get a lot of therapy for what they've been through. But but they do make it through. And I just think, however deep or, passing you want that to be, I think that it's a commentary on how valuable maintaining that hope and maintaining that love is in trying awful times.
Let's hear Joe sing. Wanna?
Yeah.
Oh. Anthony.
I feel you, Joanna. I feel you. I was half convinced I'd waken, satisfied enough to dream you. Happily I was mistaken, Joanna. I'll steal Joanna. I'll steal you. Joanna! Joanna!
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Here.
Marilla and I had a
Okay.
conversation about Joanna because a lot of times when you see the show, Joanna's kind of like, she's a little dippy, skippy, and like airheaded, and not really. That doesn't.
She's
have,
annoying.
She is annoying.
But
quite often.
Always loved listening to Marilla. Always.
Well, at one
Always.
point, I was like, Marilla, she's the one that shoots the guy and runs off because Anthony can't even pull the pistol. Like, come on, she's
John
not.
and I would be backstage going, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on. No, I know.
Come on,
It was surprising for me even because I was always rooting for Joanna, but yeah, you kind of get into it and you're like, oh, she's just the pretty princess, damsel in distress, but she's actually a lot pluckier than a lot of people play her.
100%. You know, Pam, you're up. So I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you about this, and I'm informed by the fact that, in case anyone didn't know, if there was ever a passion project, this Theater 444 business is it. Pam was there this morning cleaning out and organizing costumes, largely with, usually maybe if she's lucky, someone comes to help. And she doesn't like to talk about that, but I'm going to say it, is that this company thrives on her devotion and her belief in it and what she wants to do and her point of view. And so, but by the way, shameless plug, if anybody out there listening would like to volunteer, we would love to have more people that are wanting to volunteer to help in either it's a one-off. If it's a one-off Saturday, oh, thanks, Pam. Yeah, if it's a one-off Saturday to help or a longer-term commitment, we always need folks in addition to those that you see on stage. Pam, I wanted to ask you about if you would tell us a little bit about, you told me about a scaled-back production of this that sparked your interest when you went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to just tell us a little bit about, I mean, obviously we're used to seeing Sweeney on big stages, big proscenium stages and big houses, and how that experience informed this production and maybe something that you are most proud of about this particular production.
Yeah. I don't know. I do theater because I'm passionate about it. I believe in it. I believe we need it. It's one of the things that keeps us humble in our humanity and helps us like gain some more empathy for other people and understand, that we all have stuff. Like we all have our stuff and there's different ways to deal with it. And so I was in Chicago and I went actually to see a couple of other things and had an open evening and picked off of just a random, list, Sweeney, which is not one of my favorite shows. It's not something I'm passionate about. It wasn't in the front of my head. I wasn't thinking about it at all. I don't like to do things that I'm not feeling in my heart because that's when it gets good, And I went to this little theater in Chicago and went down these deep, deep stairs, 2 sets of stairs into their basement. And I'm like, this is really weird. Like, what is happening right now? And the ceiling was low. It was like being in a real basement. It was a basement. The ceiling was very low. And there were these 4 pillars in the basement holding the ceiling up. And there were chairs everywhere that you just picked a chair and random chairs, none of them matched. And I sat down and my mouth hung open for 2.5 hours because it was riveting. And what I thought was the most interesting part about it was that they didn't have this big, beautiful set of London, and I thought, it allowed me to access the show in a different way. Because we're always looking for space and we don't have large spaces. I've directed the big multi-million-dollar musicals, I've directed those big things on big stages. They're expensive, they're big. I've done that. This company is really about like being as creative as we can to enter stories from a different place. And this allowed me to see how I could get into this story from a different place. And so I remember telling Mare about it and she was like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. She just like, whatever I say, she's like, she trusts me a million. And I'm still like, not sure what I'm going to do. And even as we went along, it's collaborative, this cast worked together to figure it out. Like there was some tricky stuff in it. Like, how do we use the same floor space to be 4 different locations at the same time? that was tricky. And we used a lot of tech and sound and light to make that happen and help the audience follow the story. And I don't know. I just always believe if you really just tell the story and follow the story and help the audience follow the story, then it will serve itself. Like it will serve itself to you, you know? So yeah, that was,
Thank you.
yeah.
No, thank you. That's nice. Thank you. I will say too that if you're out there and you got the privilege to see this production and you haven't taken advantage of becoming a patron to 444, Pam can probably throw up the patron piece. It's really important to know that there are people that are out there that are wanting to support at any level that you feel as though you can do. It all really, really matters. And all of these things, all of our collective efforts come together to enable us to do the amazing productions like Sweeney Todd, like, right before Sweeney Todd, How I Learned to Drive, and another amazing performance by Laura Feligno, by the way. So it's our costs, as you can see here, we're pretty transparent about where our money goes. Anytime we want to do a show, we're incurring these costs even before we, but right out of the gate, like regardless of what we're going to do. So those donations or pointing us towards patrons, other patrons, talking about it with your friends, making that contribution before the end of the year so you can get a tax deduction, not to sound like an NPR commercial, but like really it does. It truly makes a huge difference. And it's not just about the money. It's also what it stands for, that you believe in what we're doing, that you believe in the amazing performances that these folks have given you, and that you want to see us do more. I'm going to move on to Miss Meredith.
Woo-hoo.
And Miss Meredith was leading the musical charge on this here adventure. And Meredith, I've kind of a two-part question that if you can think about.
She's sweating.
I know. One of it is just about if you're reflecting a little bit on the complexity of this music. I'm thinking about that because I work in my day job. My person that works for me is a professional opera singer. Like, she and her husband perform like at the Met. They're like the real deal. And when she heard I was doing Sweeney Todd, she was like, "Oh my God, are you guys nuts? I know opera singers that won't even touch it. Like, it's silly. Like, what are you, crazy?" And so if you would talk just a little bit about how you approached the complexity of this music, and also the kind of semi-controversial choice of using tracked music, pre-recorded music, versus a live orchestra.
Okay, earlier I said Mare will do anything I say, and that's not true. She was so mad at me when I said we were doing
I kind of knew that. That's why I asked the question.
Well, might as well talk about the tracks first. I hate them and love them at the same time. I now have a newfound love for tracks.
Who did that?
Rehearsal track.
Rehearsal track. Sorry.
I hate that girl. I don't. My instinct is to say that the tracks take away the freedom and the creativity from the singers. And I still believe that to be true. However, I think, first of all, the sound was amazing. To have the sound of that probably 30-piece orchestra when we can barely fit like 4 musicians in the black box. I thought that really, really added to it. And what I did like about it was it kept the pace of the show. There was no stopping. So seeing another production of Sweeney, I realized just how long the show actually is when you have the ability to change timing on things. So I did appreciate that aspect. I think it was the right choice in the end.
There's something about the dynamic sound of that big orchestra that I think really adds to the horror that we were trying to create. You know, I don't think we would have gotten that with just a piano. We just wouldn't. Yeah.
No, something about a raucous brass section really just knocks your socks off in those moments in Sweeney.
Yeah.
Especially in the orders too. Like that was originally what Sondheim intended too. Like he intended that to be that close quarters and for there to be like no applause. Like there were moments like when we were performing the show where like the audience was so scared out of their mind where they were just like, are we supposed to like this is I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. Like this is so good, but like I want to clap, but like I'm so shooketh. I'm shook right now.
The night I was there were these two ladies, old ladies behind us, and the alarm went off, or the blaring sound at the beginning went off, whatever that was.
Oh, the fire siren, yeah.
The fire siren. And the woman leaned over to her friend and said, "I think I peed a little." I was like, yes, all right. And we're off.
Even when John did Epiphany, did you see when that woman winced? When John was like, "How about you, sir?" And the woman was like, "Ugh."
There was a woman behind me one night that was narrating the whole show. She was like, "Oh my goodness, don't go up there. Oh, he's gonna do that." What? Like the whole show. He was just so invested.
Since we're all chuckling, I have two things I want to ask about. One is just in general, the trunk. Let's talk about the trunk. I don't know who wants to start. Maybe John, you could start. When you think about the trunk, what comes to mind?
Well, I have you know too. I was like, "Good luck, bro. Bye." Yeah.
John would whisper things to us as soon as he like every night he would like whisper things in our ear like every time he goes. He's like, "All right, night."
Time to go night. Like Ron, right, buddy?
Ronnie, what is Ronnie loved the trunk.
I was a little indifferent about the trunk. It was scary. I mean, you're going down. It was all padded and stuff, but
it's terrifying.
Every night I just got hurt. I mean, it was a good hurt.
Everybody got bruised
because it was for the show. But
I did it for the show.
I did it for the show.
Every night we like compared. I remember we compared bruises, or like, how's your bruise, Ronnie? Like, oh, this is like this big. How's your bruise, Evan? Like, oh, it's not like it's not as big as the other night. But I remember when we built it, and then like we looked down at, and I looked down, and it was just like this black pit, and I'm like, there's gonna be lights in this, right? Like, there's gonna be because it looked like it was like 12 feet. It was like 30 feet down, but it was actually like 10 feet off the ground. But it looked like it was like 4. It was like this endless pit going down this endless black hole. It looked scary. It looked good, but it was just like, oh, this is horrifying.
As it's funny. It's definitely a Sweeney thing. I've been involved on the technical side with one other production of Sweeney Todd where they had the more traditional barber chair that, launched people into the pit, and it was always the same thing. Everyone comparing bruises. I think it's just part of the mystique of the show. But
like that's another thing. Like that was a scary choice to make, not to have that chair. But again, I really wanted people to access the story in a different way. And it's not really about the chair. I mean, in some instances, the chair can be another character in the story, but it really is, that's not what it's about. And so this served its purpose, and we had some Sweeney fans there, and they loved it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't.
Well, they got the same reaction too. When people were going down the trunk, like especially like when I went down the trunk, they would hear like my like they heard like my body like hit the ground, and they would go like, ooh.
Well, mostly they were like, I didn't expect it, you know, which is
right.
You know, when you've seen Sweeney 20 times, you know what's going to happen. And they didn't know what was going to happen. And so they really enjoyed that piece of it. But I put together a little video of the backstage footage of the trunk.
Ooh.
Nice.
This is the death cam from the backstage area. We had the death cam. So we had one of our makeup artists was in the back there. She was catching folks at the, you know, as they came out through the trunk. So I wanted to show this. You guys are going to see you. We're going to see you in this, so you can talk through it. But I think it's funny.
Yeah.
You're gone, and yet you're mine. Bye-bye, Joanna.
Whee! That's Sean.
You stay, Joanna, the way I treat you. Bye-bye, Joanna.
Ronnie.
Statement.
Thank God for those pillows. Oh, Shannon. Smooth like butter. Someone gave him a thumbs up.
Oh my God, I love that.
That was really nice that JoJo went down the normal way.
Many times JoJo
Oh my
went back.
gosh, that one
Yeah.
time where he went like backwards.
Yeah.
There was a day.
Poor John.
where-
Poor John.
Yeah, John's having John, are you having PTSD right now?
Yes,
John,
I am.
talk
I am,
about
I
what
am.
you
I'm
would-
like,
John-
stop the show. Stop the show. I think he's dead.
John, talk about what you would whisper in their ears.
No.
What?
You can't. He can't talk about
Yeah.
that.
Come
Yeah,
on.
it's bad. It's bad.
We're not rated for that.
No, it's
Fair.
bad, guys.
Fair.
It's bad.
We'll have
I
to
thought
ask
this was the backstage time.
Later in the show, he'd open that trunk lid and the audience would go. As soon as he opened the trunk, we all knew what was coming.
Well, you know, since we're on John, tell me about the time you got locked out.
Oh yeah, so it was the
Oh my
first
God.
show. Oh my Lord, love a duck. That's how you know when I'm old, when I say Lord love a duck. So the door was not unlocked. So I go out the back. I'm like, great, let's come in. So I have to go all around the front, and it's pouring rain. And the rain, I guess, is a theme of our show, right? Because my truck. So I came in, I got in, I was like, Anthony. Anthony.
That was during the show?
Yeah.
What?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, like let's talk about the stove for a minute. So Garrett and I really worked hard on figuring out how to make the stove real. And so we wanted that first entrance for Sweeney to be really powerful. And it's like, we're in this little tiny black box. So he came in the exit doors and he left in the exit doors. And so when he went around to come in, all the doors were locked, and he had to run around the whole building to get in.
And so I came all around. I sprint. I come in. I do that, and then the first note Pam says to me is like, "That's the best time you've done that run." I was like, "I was out of breath." She was like, "Then run around more."
And you say you're not a method actor.
I'm not.
Here's John's. RJ, let me show this clip of John's entrance because I love this. I love this entrance. I live for it.
Tender tale of Sweeney Todd. Tender tale of Sweeney Todd. He served your talking of vengeful God. He served your talking of vengeful God. What happened then? Well, that's the play, and he wouldn't want us to give it away. Not Sweeney. Not Sweeney Todd. The demon power of feet. Streets.
My God.
Unlock the door. Unlock the door.
Love it. By
Lauren
the way,
got walked out once too, I think.
You did.
Yeah, I
I'm
sure
so
did.
Sorry. I was like,
by the way, another cast
deal.
member, incidentally, another cast member is sort of lurking and participating in chats and things, and that's Sean Fenner. He's another member of the ensemble. He's oh, there he is. He still has bruises from the trunk. Yes. I just wanted to say hi, Sean. We missed you
Hi,
on.
Sean.
We missed you on
Bruise
tonight.
buddies.
Bruise buddies. Bruise buddies. Oh my God, that's funny. And we do have some folks. I'm just checking here. We do have some folks that are listening. A bunch of folks that are listening to us on Facebook. So appreciate you joining in tonight. Also, a bit off brand for this particular show and such, but if you're planning your holiday shopping and wanting to get a jump on it, in addition to stopping by Marilla's Mindful Supplies, you also should consider merch. Yes, Theater 444 merch. Yes. There are Christmas tree, holiday tree ornaments. There are lanyards and mugs and T-shirts and. What? Feel free to please visit that store, buy a piece for yourself, someone you love, etc. That's another way that we keep it in place. Pam, before we kind of close out here, I wanted you to maybe, what are you thinking about for 2025?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to ask that.
Tell us.
Well, first of all, we are. One of the things that we love to do is support our youth in our community, and so our team is supporting our Geneva High School program, and we are directing Talk Everlasting with the high school. So we'll be doing that for the bulk of the winter. That really takes up a lot of time because it is a big musical. So we'll be doing that first off right at the top of the year. After that, we usually try to plan something in May and then summer and then in the fall. I can't tell you what those things are yet because of multiple reasons. One being space. Until we have space secure, we can't choose something. So we have lots of ideas, but without secure space, we just can't. We can't figure out what we're doing yet. So we're still looking and planning, but there will be something. We just don't know what it is yet. And we're just letting the universe work it out. So that's where we're at right now.
We were low-key toying with an idea of wishes and dreams.
Yeah.
As a theme. Yeah. Yeah. That's where we're thinking about what we were talking about already.
But we are planning, and it's very complex, the planning process, because we don't have our own space. It's complex because we have to make sure we have locations. Then we have to get rights, and we have to make sure we have the right people in place to do the technical pieces of it. And so it's complicated, and it takes a little bit of planning and time. So be patient with us. We'll get it. We'll get you some information as soon as we can.
And then I wanted to also, is there anything anybody wants to plug, like places that we're going to be able to see you performing? We are a multi-talented bunch. So is there anything upcoming that anybody wants to plug?
Ooh.
Marilla?
Oh gosh. Yes, of course. Obviously everybody get a ticket to go see the high school show this coming spring. Tuck Everlasting is going to be lovely, and those kids deserve a great audience. And I would say I am in the Cool Club and the Lipker Sisters, and we've got holiday shows and Christmas shows coming up. So come see us. We got some big band shows coming up. So check out the Cool Club and the Lipker Sisters.
All right. That's nice. And I can't say enough. Support your local, both our cast and those watching, really support your high school drama programs. They've got fall shows and spring musicals, and they really are the feeders of the future. We've already had, when we did for Fringe last year, when we did Alice, Almost Alice, we had a young woman that came through the high school program that we had worked on. And so, that really is what's driving the future of community theater. So definitely do that, those of you out in the community. And also I know we will do that here around the circle. Before I let everybody go and bid adieu, Pam, I wanted to give you a bit of the last word here of what you would like to leave, both something you'd like this cast to hear from you, but also things that you'd like the community to know.
Oh. Well, I guess I picked the word surprising at the beginning because it snuck up on me how much I loved this group and how much I loved this production. I was super proud of it. It was so freaking hard. And we worked so hard. All of these people worked tirelessly to make this work. And they trusted me. And that's just such a gift when the cast just really trusts you, because I'm telling them to do some crazy things. So I just, I really appreciate and love this group of people so much, and super proud of our work this summer. It was awesome.
As host, I'll add as a final thought that from two respects, thank you from an audience member's perspective, a theater person audience member, of leaving a production feeling inspired and proud and just really energized by the work that you all did. From an interpersonal perspective, as one of Pam's co-conspirators and supporters, she left this production feeling so buoyant and so inspired by all of you. And so I want to thank you for that, for adding your positive energy to this, because anybody that's done a bunch of shows knows that's not always the case. Sometimes you feel like, oh crap, I pulled that one over. I felt every second of that.
Yeah, I feel like we could have done this one longer.
Yeah.
It just was, I agree with John. It was life-changing. It was powerful. So thank you all.
Yes.
So
thanks
much.
to all of you. Thanks to Pam.
We did the damn thing.
We did the damn thing, girl. Absolutely.
So much
I'm sure
fun.
Pam's got an inspirational video to leave us with, but no?
I have my
RJ.
magic, my little magic that I'm going to leave with. What?
Oh, yeah. That's
Wait a
that's what I
minute.
meant.
I have to give my word.
Hey, Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
What's your word?
Oh, there she
Mayor,
is.
don't do it.
Because what?
Do it.
Yes.
Go.
It was It hit me over the head when we were watching the Epiphany video. And the reason I couldn't think of it is because this is not a word that usually is in my vocabulary because I'm dark and twisty, but the word is joy. You guys brought me so much joy.
That was worth waiting
And
to
I
the
love
end.
Thanks, Mayor.
You bring us joy, Mayor.
Oh, thank you.
That's a perfect way to
Love
end
you.
it.
Aw,
Mhm.
she
I
meant
love
to
you
do
guys.
that.
Yes, I
Well,
did.
thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Here's to you and all the great, wonderful work that you do.
Cheers, theater.
Cheers, loves.
Four.
Mwah.
Cheers, my friends.